You guys aren't gonna believe this. So, autumn season is here, just got here yesterday on January 24th, as I'm sure most of you know, and there is another exclusive car we can win from another seasonal event. This one is called Running Start, as you can see, the second one that is listed right there. So you just want to go to your map and filter for seasonal events, but can you believe that they are making us do PvP again, a second straight week? I'm sure there was tons of controllers and TVs broken last week with that Rip Rod seasonal drag racing that we had to do, and they bring PvP back again. I can't believe it, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be pissed off about this, but here it is. This is where you're going to be starting, and just kidding, we do not need to do PvP again, guys. Come on, did you really think that the Forza team would do that to us again? I'm sure some of you thought that they would, but they did not. We can do this in solo against expert drivatars. The prize is a nice old 1967 Mercedes-Benz. These are all the eligible cars, all the cars that you can use for this seasonal, again, in solo against expert difficulty drivatars. So I end up using the Lola, and you can use the Lola completely stock. I'm going to show you all three races in this video, just to make sure that everyone's aware of the races you're going to have to do, and also so you can see that you can do it in a stock car on expert difficulty, not unbeatable, expert. So I'm not going to let Kiera talk again this time because last week she talked and everybody was very unhappy about the seasonal event, so we're going to switch it up this week. I'm going to talk over her this time, and here's why I like the Lola. First off, in Forza Horizon 3 I drove this car. I'm pretty sure it was a Forzathon exclusive car. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it, but the first thing you gotta do, go to your difficulty and make sure you put it on expert. You don't want to be any higher than that, which I was on unbeatable before I started this, so luckily I remembered to switch it. Now, the first race is a sprint race, and I believe the last two were circuit races. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself later as we get along here in the video, but this Sunoco, it is awesome. Now, here's the reason. Long gears, you can really stretch the gears far. If you learned how to drive manual doing the drag racing, I recommend trying it again for this. Now, if you're not the greatest driver, totally understandable. And here's the biggest thing that I want to point out. If you struggle driving any of these cars, here's the thing. Every single one of these classic racers that are available and eligible to use for this seasonal, they are all rear-wheel drive. So the drivatars are stuck with rear-wheel drive. If you want to swap to all-wheel drive, that might be the biggest help in this thing if you want to do that. If you want to build your car, tune it a little bit, whatever, all-wheel drive, maybe a quick little weight reduction, add a little bit of power. Highly recommend staying in the S1 class because it is autumn, it's very slippery. That's the biggest thing when you're doing these races. It's going to be raining in some of the races. It is just wet roads, slipperiness everywhere. But the reason I love the Lola is it's rear-wheel drive. It's got a lot of power, long gears, but it's very grippy. You just need a little throttle control, and this car is so easy to control, and that's why I chose it. The second I saw it, I was like, yep, this is the car I'm going with because it's the only one that I remember driving that I was comfortable driving. The classic racers, they all have a lot of body sway, and it's really hard to maintain your acceleration going through certain turns. So the Lola is the car that I recommend. I really don't feel like a tune is necessary. Now again, if you struggle for any reason though with the slipperiness, or you're just not that great at driving on some of these races, just swap to all-wheel drive. You'll immediately have a huge advantage against the drivatars, and right off the launch you're going to notice that. You're going to pull on all the drivatars right away. So all-wheel drive swap, maybe weight reduction, add a little bit of power, and you'll be good to go. Now throttle control is very important though, no matter what, because it is slippery on these roads, and that's the one more challenging part of the autumn season. But there's only 3 races to this championship. The goal is you got to win the championship, obviously, so you have to have the most points at the end of the championship. It's not about winning one race, it's not about coming first place in every race, you just have to have the most points at the end. Now, I barely managed to squeak out this first race, I barely managed to, but the second 2 races I easily won, so I got really lucky on this first race. And this was the first time I ran through the event. These 3 races you're about to see, it's the first time I went through the event. If I can do this, anybody can do it. And I was not driving perfectly, as you're going to see throughout these races. I made some mistakes, I did not drive perfect, and I still was able to get the Mercedes-Benz the first try. So that's what I recommend using. You can pick any of the classic racers that you want to, doesn't really matter. and the reward is the 1967 Mercedes-Benz 280 SL. It's a D-class car. It's one of those cars that you would probably take out on like a Sunday drive and just kind of show off. Not a car that I'm going to tune up or be using too much, but it is an exclusive car. You're going to want it for your car collection, any of those car collection completionists out there, which I know is pretty much everybody. And it most likely will be pretty rare because it's coming through the seasonal, and not everyone is going to complete the seasonal. Not everyone's going to know about it. Not everyone has this game yet. So at some point the car will be rare, and you'll probably be able to sell it if you want to. But that is pretty much all I gotta say. Again, for settings, try manual. You might want to put traction control on. That might help you out, it might not. I just never like to use traction control. I always have it off, so I recommend trying that as well. And the Lola is fantastic. It's just an awesome car, great handling, great grip, and a ton of power and good acceleration through those long gears that this thing has. That's why I love the car. I love longer gears. I enjoy driving cars with longer gears. Some people like shorter gears because, yes, the acceleration can be faster, but I prefer not to have to shift as often, so that can really help you out. But if you have any questions at all, if you're struggling at all, just let me know. If people really want me to make a tune or something for this, I can certainly do so, but I just really feel like it's not necessary. So let me know what you guys think about this particular seasonal event compared to the Rip Rod one. Last week we had to do PvP drag racing. This time we have to do solo expert drivatar difficulty road racing. Which do you prefer? Let me know. I'm really not sure what people are going to answer. I'll leave a little poll on this video so you guys can vote and let me know. So maybe the Forza team will see this, or I'll tell them like, hey, here's the results to my poll. And it'll probably be pretty close, like 50-50, right? Like everybody, you know, last week they loved that PvP drag racing, and yeah. So that is it though. You're just going to see the last race here shortly after this race. Then that way you know the races you're going to have to do, and you should be even more prepared to complete this autumn seasonal event if you did not already. But that is it. I'm out of here, guys. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy your Mercedes, that old 1967 280 SL. Peace, guys.